Welcome back, everybody. Excited for another video today. Thanks for joining me to talk about personal finance. Got an interesting concept I want to talk about today. One of the biggest secrets, in my opinion, to getting wealthy, getting ahead, changing your lifestyle. So really excited to dive into this today. If you're liking these videos, please subscribe. Helps me, stay motivated, make more videos, stay on top of things. And always feel free to like this video as well. Give it that big thumbs up. We're jumping in today to start off talking about one of the biggest secrets there is in life to getting ahead and making it that next step to getting into the next level. Whether you're making a little bit of money and want to get to the point where you're feeling confident, whether you're making good money and want to get to the point where you're actually starting to invest and save for your future, or if you're starting to invest but you really want to say, hey, I actually want to be wealthy, right? I want to acquire wealth. It really doesn't matter what stage of the path you're on right now. This is going to help you move on to the next step. So let's jump on in. I want to talk about the idea of lifestyle inflation. So it's kind of a fancier term, but basically we all know what this is. We can all relate to it, whether you've heard that phrase or not. Lifestyle inflation is simply just as you make more money, you spend more money. And your first thought might be, well, yeah, that's the freaking goal, right? That's why I want more money, so I can buy more stuff, so I can spend more stuff. And I get that, and it's nice to kind of, that's part of what it feels like to jump classes, right? To go to the next stage of life of saying, hey, when I was, just waiting tables, I couldn't afford certain things. And now that I have a steady full-time job, I can afford things. I have good benefits. I have health insurance, whatever. You start to feel like you're making it to that next level. But if you just spend everything you make and every increase you make, it doesn't matter. If you're making $30,000 a year and you get a $10,000 raise, I mean, that's awesome, right? It's a 33% increase. It's a big raise. But if you are making $30,000 and spending $30,000, and now you're making $40,000 and you start spending $40,000, it doesn't really matter. Right? You're not actually getting ahead at all. Sure, you're buying some fancier things, but you're not actually changing your stage and making it so you're in a better position financially. Because realistically, if we're using a better measuring stick of how much you have, not how much you make, but how much money you have and how many assets you have, you're not changing anything. You're just making more and spending more. So the wheel continues, right? Nothing actually changed. Ultimately, the real goal is to make sure that your lifestyle is beneath your income. That's the real way to start getting ahead. And it might sound simple, but how come nobody does it, right? Why do we all spend every raise, every bonus we get, and be in the exact same position financially, and that if we make 100% of our money, we spend 100% of our money? Why do we do that? And I think a big reason is simply our peers, right? We're very gregarious social creatures as humans. We want to belong to the tribe, and you're probably surrounded by people who make more or less the same amount of money as you. Obviously at work, you're going to be surrounded by people who have the same job as you, and you guys probably all make literally the exact same amount of money as far as your income is concerned. Maybe you guys have other income flows or something, but realistically, most of your peers, most of the people you spend time with are going to be those you work with, and you're making the same amount of money. And so it's hard to break from the herd because everyone knows what everyone can afford, right? Living life at the financial red line, spending everything you make. But everyone knows whether or not you can afford to go out that weekend or whether you can take a certain type of vacation because that's what they do, and they know they can or cannot afford it. So really, we're following the pack here, and we're not actually standing out and being individuals. We're just sticking to the status quo. Following the herd is really natural, but you got to break away from it a little bit. It doesn't mean you need to be snotty. You don't need to tip your nose at everyone and say, hey, I'm saving more money than you, I'm better than you. It's nothing like that, right? We just want to make sure we're not falling into peer pressure and spending everything we have just because everyone around us spends everything they have. And, I'm not just here to point fingers. I've done it too. So a simple example is I needed some new shorts. I bought some sweet hybrid shorts, hybrid. You can wear them while you're hanging out. They look fine. Then you can also just jump into a pool, jump into the ocean, whatever you're ready for, and they'll dry. Love that. Always got to live that adventurous lifestyle, Not really. I've done that like once ever. But they're nice shorts. They were like $30 a pair. And I went on a vacation with some coworkers, and we went to a sweet store, and guess what? I bought 2 pairs of shorts again, except this time they were $70 a pair. And that's something I would never normally do, but at the time I wanted to do it because I was with a friend, and he was buying them, and I was buying them, and we had a good time, and it was fun. And, I don't regret it by any means, but it was definitely outside of my normal character and something I wouldn't have done if not in a social setting where that's what we were doing. We were on vacation, we were at the beach, we were having a fun time, and so we bought some expensive clothes. So small, simple example, but you can imagine if you multiply that and you do that type of spending change with every part of your life as you make more money, then you're going to quickly spend it all, right? I mean, if you upgrade your car and then you go out to fancier dinners, and instead of going to a quick casual takeout place, you go to a sit-down restaurant where there's a server and you're adding a nice 20% tax to yourself when you tip the server, right? You do that in different areas of life, and you just spent the $10,000 raise we talked about, right? We saw you made 30, now you're making 40, starting to feel good about yourself, but you quickly can spend all that between a car. Your insurance is going to go up. Maybe you get a little less gas mileage. Really quickly, it's easy to spend that $10,000, but not actually make a big change in your lifestyle. You're still living in the same place. You're still working the same job. You're still waiting for your next paycheck so you can buy the next thing that's attracting your attention. So even that $10,000 raise didn't actually change a whole lot about what you're doing. So how do we avoid this? How do we avoid this lifestyle inflation? The simplest way to do it is to just save whatever your bonuses and raises are. Just don't increase your spending as you get your next raise. You're getting an annual performance review and you're getting 5 or 10% raise, whatever it is. Don't spend it. And when you get your tax return, just don't spend it. It's not that hard. Realistically, you're living on whatever your income is, right? You're not spending any more money. So why do you desperately need to spend whatever money you make again? And it's so much easier to save your raises than to cut back on your spending. And the big reason is loss aversion. So there's a really interesting experiment that explains loss aversion done with monkeys. And I think it really relates to humans. Whether or not we evolved from them, I don't know. I don't care. But I do know that this experiment really applies to us personally with loss aversion, in that one monkey was given a banana and it was super happy with its banana. And then that's it. He was happy with his banana. Another monkey was given 2 bananas, and then one was taken away. And the second monkey was pissed. It hated the fact that it lost the banana. Now you have 2 monkeys with a single banana each. They should be equally happy. But of course they're not, right? Because what happened? There's more context than that. We're not sitting in a vacuum talking about 2 monkeys with a banana each. One went from 0 to 1 banana. One went from 0 to 2, back down to 1. And that loss just felt horrible, to the fact that it couldn't even enjoy its first banana. And if that felt familiar to you, that's because you're normal. It's because you're human. Humans have major loss aversion. It's way better to win $5 than to lose $2.50, right? It's just a different experience. The pain of a loss is much greater than the joy of a gain. Another reason why you should save your raises and your bonuses, because they're not actually as exciting as you might think. So I have a friend, he just got a $5,000 raise. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Well, that friend lives in San Francisco. So, $5,000 doesn't go as far, first of all. Second of all, after taxes, between California state income tax and federal state income tax, really we're looking at like a $2,500 raise. So half of it's just gone right out the door. If he had already mentally started to be excited about that $5,000 increase in spending, well, once he actually sees the amount, it's a little bit disappointing. And second of all, even if we're talking about $2,500 in pocket, you get paid twice a month. That's only like what, $100 per paycheck? That's not really changing your lifestyle, right? So a $5,000 raise sounds sweet. You're like, hey, I can buy this cool toy. I can go on a sweet vacation. The reality is, you look at your paycheck and it changed by $100, right? It's just not that different. So you buy one fancy shirt or a pair of shoes and it's gone. Your $100 is gone just like that for your paycheck. So you're not really changing your lifestyle again. So why bother? Why not just save it? Because $2,500 at the end of the year, that actually means something. That's a lot more important than an extra $100 a paycheck that you spend on something dumb. You went on to one extra meal, you bought a few extra drinks, you did a little extra fun, but overall you didn't feel different. Versus having $2,500 that you saved and then you can invest and start using the magic of compounding and double your money and double it again, and by the time you need it for retirement, all of a sudden that $2,500 that could have been an extra pair of shoes here and there, an extra shirt, an extra dinner, is now a significant $10,000 amount of money when it comes to retirement. So it really can make a difference when you save, but you're not actually going to make that much of a change in your life when you're just spending it automatically. You're incrementally increasing your lifestyle slowly and by the way you're spending, and it doesn't feel any different. Now, for those of you who are saying, look, this all sounds well and good, but the reality is I've spent every penny of every bonus and every raise I've ever made. If you really don't have the self-control to do this, just try saving half. So when you get your tax return, you get your next bonus, you get your next raise, save half of it. So then you still get to do the splurge, you still get to follow what you've been doing and spending it all and buying that extra dinner, buying that extra pair of shoes, but instead of a pair of shoes every 2 weeks or a shirt every 2 weeks, it's once a month. And the other half is being saved. So then you actually can start to feel what it's like to start saving, start to get that rush, that extremely boring rush of saying, hey, I got more money in my bank account. I feel good. I saved that. All right. So thanks for tuning in. If you're still listening to this video, I know it's a little bit of a longer one. Appreciate you sticking through to the end. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll come back at you next week with another video.